The Biden administration does bear some responsibility for this crisis, and they should be held accountable for not implementing existing laws.
The crisis on our border is a national security threat.
To execute this plan, are you going to need more than the $14 billion that President Biden has asked Congress for? You will need likely more personnel or funding to execute this. How will your plan work?
Large numbers of migrants are approaching the border and being processed and kind of released into the country, sometimes with a piece of paper called a notice to appear, where they may see a judge in 5, 7, 10 years. No one knows.
What?
If they meet the standard for asylum. For individuals who do not meet that standard, which, by the way, Margaret, is most of the migrants who are coming to our country right now, they'll be swiftly returned to their home country. And for folks that we can't detain, like families, for instance,
What?
we'll ensure that we're supervising them over the course of just 3 months and conduct that interview with that new higher standard, requiring them to show more proof early on about whether or not they qualify for asylum. So we'll no longer have people just entering the country and maybe going to court in the next 7 or 10 years.
Those who are impoverished, for example, and say they're just coming to America to have a better life, they're in search of the American dream, they won't qualify, right? They will be turned away?
Right now, individuals who want to come to America just to get a better life or to seek the American dream, to find work, those are what we call economic migrants. They are not permitted to enter the country whenever they would like, because they currently are exploiting the asylum system.
The Biden administration does bear some responsibility for this crisis, and they should be held accountable for not implementing existing laws.
The administration doesn't have to shut down the border until you get to 5,000 crossers a day. Well, that's not true.
What?
First of all, our law ends catch and release. But when too many people approach the border asking to come in seeking asylum, that the government actually shut down the border if those numbers get to 5,000 a day.
What?
But we're permitting the government to actually shut down the border when it only gets to 4,000 approaches a day.
What?
So we have enough time to process those asylum claims, whether it's through detention or whether it's through supervision, like for families. We want enough time for the government to be able to process these asylum claims.
What?
The crisis on our border is a national security threat.
Outright treason.
Read the legislation. Understand how it works. That while the current administration does bear responsibility for mishandling the border,
The Biden administration does bear some responsibility for this crisis, and they should be held accountable for not implementing existing laws.
the crisis on our border is a national security threat.